if he wants to waive the mistake again. You pretend like you hard, but you're not, Ja. You got a $200 million contract, and you want people in the NBA to think you hood, to think you gangster, because you roll with these type of people, bro. You putting yourself in harm's way when you don't have to.
I'm disrespectful just as like they disrespectful.
The Ja Morant and Shannon Sharpe saga is getting wild again. And trust, this round is way messier than before. Ja's out here blasting Shannon, calling him a straight-up hypocrite for defending Tyrese Halliburton's dad like he's some saint. So here's how this all spiraled out of control.
Dillon Brooks was having words with Shannon Sharpe, and Hall of Famer and broadcast. And you see Steven Adams comes over to protect his guy along with the supporting cast, and then Shannon Sharpe still talking, and Morant, Ja Morant's dad, comes over.
It all kicked off when Tyrese's pops, John Halliburton, got into a heated screaming match with Giannis right after Game 5 of the first-round playoffs. They were trading words right there on the sideline in front of everybody. Then Shannon jumped into the mess, blasting John Halliburton for being disrespectful with his courtside meltdown. But Ja Morant wasn't about to let that slide. No way! Because Ja hasn't forgotten how Shannon himself was ready to square up with Ja's entire squad, and even Ja's dad, when the Lakers faced the Grizzlies last season. Ja's basically saying, how you gonna call out somebody else's father when you were out here trying to throw hands courtside like you're untouchable? Fans are riding hard with Ja on this one, clowning Shannon for having the nerve to act like he's the moral authority. And let's keep it real, Shannon's image is already getting shredded lately. Folks still remember that scandal with the 19-year-old OnlyFans model who's got a lawsuit against him for a mind-blowing $50 million. So now everybody's dragging him even harder, saying he's got zero right to sit around judging other people's families. But here's the thing, was Shannon just keeping it real about what he saw? Or is he out here being shady and picking sides just to stay relevant?
Russell had to get out of the way or it would have been a sixth foul.
Meanwhile, things got so tense that the Pacers front office had to jump in quick before it turned into a bigger circus. Word on the street is they pulled John Halliburton aside and told him he needed to chill out and step back for a minute. A team rep even told ESPN it was the organization's call, and John didn't argue one bit. He just nodded and agreed to take a seat. All this chaos blew up on April 29th. That night, the Pacers were lit after Tyrese dropped a clutch layup with only 1.3 seconds left in overtime, locking in the win. But right when the crowd was losing it, Giannis claimed John Halliburton stormed over like he was ready to fight, waving a towel right in his face and shouting all kinds of stuff. Whole scene was straight up madness.
How you feeling? I told y'all. How you feeling, bro? I was saving it. I was saving it. I was saving it.
After folks started coming for him hard, John faced a tidal wave of backlash. Not long after, he jumped online to try to calm things down and posted an apology that said, I sincerely apologize to Giannis, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Pacers organization for my actions following tonight's game. He admitted it was a terrible look for the sport and for Tyrese, and he promised he wouldn't ever pull a stunt like that again. Even Tyrese had to weigh in once he found out what went down. He said he didn't have a clue about the drama because he was just locked in playing ball. But when he finally heard the whole story back in the locker room, even he had to agree. It was way out of line. His dad definitely took it way too far. But even after the dust settled, Shannon Sharpe wasn't about to let it go. On his Nightcap podcast, he came back swinging, throwing some slick shade at Tyrese's dad, like that apology was nothing but fake talk. But Ja Morant's fans weren't having any of it. They clapped back hard, reminding everybody that Shannon should be the very last person running his mouth, especially after the way he acted trying to scrap with Ja's dad at that Lakers-Grizzlies showdown.
Yeah.
It didn't take long before the receipts started flying all over social media. After Ryan Clark popped off saying John Halliburton should get banned from every NBA arena, one fan fired back. Tyrese Halliburton's dad bringing out a towel and stepping on the court after his son hit a playoff game winner gets him banned. But Shannon Sharpe tried to fight the whole Memphis squad and Jay Morant's dad, and he's fine. LMFAO. Another person jumped in too, dragging Shannon even harder. They said, Shannon Sharpe in his 50s, starting fights with players, messing around with OnlyFans models, getting 2 tapes leaked, and he got the nerve to sit up on TV acting like Ja Morant and other 20-somethings are the immature ones. Folks were eating that up, and it's not like Shannon backed off Ja either. He came right back at him again, this time calling Ja out for that gun gesture he flashed at the Warriors bench during a game last month. So, the big question everyone's asking, does Ja even care? Or is he just going to keep doing what he wants no matter what anybody says? Ja flashed his fingers like a gun right after dropping a bucket on Golden State. And man, that set off a whole storm. Folks were quick to say he was acting reckless all over again, and plenty accused him of putting on this fake tough guy act just to look hard. And let's be real, this isn't coming out of nowhere. Ja's been under a burning spotlight for a long minute because of the choices he keeps making.
I think they used to run
Everything started spiraling out of control when he pulled out a real gun on Instagram Live while chilling at a strip club in Denver right after a game. That clip exploded online and ended up costing him a suspension and a mountain of embarrassment. Back then, Ja tried to calm everybody down, saying he was getting help and learning better ways to handle stress. But a lot of folks are looking at him now and thinking, did he really learn anything at all? Every time it looks like he's moving forward, he goes and does something that drags him right back into trouble. And just when people thought it couldn't get any crazier, Ja's situation kept falling apart. The NBA wasn't playing games either. After that IG Live stunt, they hit him with another suspension, calling him a threat to the league's reputation. It was a brutal blow, and fans were split right down the middle. Some said Ja's just young and needs real guidance to stay on track. Others said he's out here throwing away the golden chance to make it big and leave all that street nonsense behind, literally. And of course, Shannon Sharpe had a whole lot to say about that too. He went on multiple shows tearing into Ja, claiming he was out here pretending to be something he's not and needed to grow up, fast. But fans weren't about to let Shannon get away with acting like he's some perfect role model. They jumped in quick, dragging him for trying to play father figure while he's out here tangled up in scandals of his own. One post went viral saying, Shannon Sharpe been on TV for months clowning Jay Morant. But wasn't he just in drama with a 19-year-old model? Come on now, pot meet kettle. That comment had everybody cracking up. Another person chimed in, saying he's always the first one to point fingers but never checks his own mess. And honestly, that hit a nerve with a lot of folks. But here's the real twist in all this drama. Despite the non-stop backlash, Ja still has a crazy loyal fan base. His supporters keep riding for him no matter what, saying everybody's too quick to rip apart young stars who are still figuring life out. Some argue that anybody under that much pressure is bound to make mistakes, and Ja just happens to do it with the whole world watching every move. But the NBA isn't about to keep giving him free passes. They've already made it clear, one more slip-up, and the consequences are going to be way more serious this time.
As you see security patrolling the sidelines, a lot of fans have already started to hit the exits here at FedEx Forum, and they might need to escort somebody out as they're having a conversation with a fan sitting courtside.
That's actually Ja Morant's father.
Behind the scenes, Ja has reportedly been sitting down with mentors, team officials, and league reps, all trying to help him rebuild his image before it's too late. Whether any of that actually sticks? Only time's gonna tell. Meanwhile, Shannon's name just won't stay out the headlines either. That lawsuit from the OnlyFans model has people talking nonstop, and it's not looking like that chatter's dying down anytime soon. She's claiming emotional distress, saying Shannon manipulated her and left her wrecked, and now the whole situation is heading straight to court. Shannon's team is denying every single bit of it, but honestly, the damage is already done. Folks online are side-eyeing everything about his character now. So while Shannon keeps trying to play the wise veteran, calling out everybody else's bad behavior, people aren't about to let him forget about his own messy track record. With Ja trying to bounce back from his scandals and Shannon fighting off this legal heat, It's like watching two different worlds colliding. One man's out here trying to grow up and get it together, and the other's scrambling not to let everything crumble apart. But it didn't stop there, because the internet started digging even deeper into Shannon Sharpe's past, and the receipts are coming out fast. Old clips are popping back up showing Shannon trash-talking players, beefing with random fans, and getting way too hyped on the sidelines like he was about to start throwing punches. People are saying this isn't anything new. Shannon been out of pocket for years, and now that he's back beefing with Jay, everybody's putting his every move under a microscope. One clip making the rounds shows Shannon losing it courtside during a Lakers game. He was barking at Dylan Brooks, screaming at the whole Grizzlies bench, and it got so heated that security had to step in to calm him down before it turned into a full-on brawl. It was straight up wild. And that's the same night he nearly went toe-to-toe with Ja Morant's dad. Fans haven't forgotten any of it, and they for sure aren't letting Shannon live that night down. People keep saying you can't act like a hothead one day and then turn around trying to be everybody's wise big uncle the next. Pick a lane. The hypocrisy has folks rolling their eyes non-stop, especially since Shannon keeps going on and on about Ja setting a bad example. And here's where it gets even spicier. Sources close to the Grizzlies say Ja still isn't over how Shannon tried to twist the whole situation like he was some innocent bystander. Word is, Ja felt majorly disrespected, not just by Shannon's comments, but because Shannon acted like he had no part in sparking all that chaos.
That Ja hasn't learned his lesson yet.
I mean, he's learned his lesson. He ain't been caught on film holding on.
Well, I know this sounds crazy. This might sound crazy to y'all. But what if Gangsta? What if he can't stop?
I don't know how many gangsters are that rich.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many gangsters lost $50 million doing non-gangster. It's just, there's just certain things you can't do if you're job. Same thing, you know, with me. There's just certain gestures you just can't do.
Yeah, but you see Draymond talking to the ref. He just did this.
Yeah, I did.
That's crazy.
Meanwhile, the receipts are everywhere. Videos showing Shannon stepping up all aggressive, yelling like he was ready to throw down with the whole squad. At this point, the beef isn't even about basketball anymore. It's personal, no question. You've got Ja out here trying to focus and get his mind right, while Shannon keeps popping up on podcasts and interviews, tossing shade like it's part of his brand now. Every single time Ja tries to take a step forward, Shannon's name creeps back up, dragging all that drama right back into the spotlight. Some fans are saying enough is enough. They're calling for Shannon to stand up and publicly apologize to Ja's dad. They say if Shannon can come at everybody else's family so hard, he should be man enough to own up to his own mistakes too. But so far, nothing but crickets. Shannon hasn't said a word about it, and with that massive lawsuit breathing down his neck, he's got way more to stress about than just throwing jabs at NBA stars. His reputation is on the ropes, and the court of public opinion isn't cutting him any slack at all. And just when everybody thought things couldn't get any messier, Ja went and stirred it up again, proving this saga is nowhere near over. This time, Ja was riding around in a car with a friend on IG Live, and yep, he flashed another gun like he hadn't learned a single thing from the first mess. Fans were stunned. Like, seriously? Did he really not get the memo the first time around? Suddenly, folks weren't just calling him reckless, they were calling him straight up clueless, saying he was trying way too hard to put on some fake gangster act. And let's be real, the internet wasted no time roasting him. People were clowning him, saying he looked like he wanted to be a rapper more than an NBA superstar. They were posting stuff like, why is a millionaire baller acting like he's still in the streets when he's got everything to lose? And honestly, it was confusing. Ja's got the money, the fame, and the raw talent, but it seemed like he was obsessed with chasing some street image that didn't even fit him. Things weren't looking any better once folks started paying attention to his whole vibe off the court. The way he talked, the captions he dropped on social media, the flashy energy, the little low-key threats, it all felt off. People were shaking their heads like, this ain't the real Ja Morant. This is some character he made up to look tough. And then you look at the court, and the drama just kept rolling. Ja's been extra cocky during games, taunting benches, barking at opponents, throwing up gun fingers every time he scored. It's got people wondering if he even cares about winning or if he's just addicted to putting on a show for the cameras. But it's not just Ja catching heat. Folks are side-eyeing the whole crew around him. His dad, Team Morant, is basically a courtside celebrity at this point. and people are starting to ask if anybody's really telling Ja to slow down before he blows it all up. Always front row, always in the mix, and sometimes way too deep in the mix. Ja's dad has turned into a whole courtside celebrity, and folks say Team Morant is out here making every game feel like a sideshow, and not the fun kind. Let's rewind to that wild Lakers versus Grizzlies matchup back in January 2023 when everything exploded for real. It kicked off when Shannon Sharpe was sitting courtside, hyping up LeBron like he always does. He started telling Dillon Brooks he was too small to guard the king. Brooks wasn't having it. He fired right back with some strong words of his own, and Shannon didn't stay quiet one bit. That back and forth blew up in seconds. Ja Morant, Steven Adams, and Ja's dad all jumped in, and the whole scene turned into pure chaos. Security had to rush over before it turned into a real throwdown right there on the hardwood. Funny thing is, some fans actually took Shannon's side, saying he was just standing up for his opinion and refusing to back down. Shannon later called it one of the worst moments of his life, and even admitted he regretted how out of control it got. But here's the twist. Fast forward to now, and Shannon's out here calling out John Halliburton for doing pretty much the exact same thing he did. People are straight up calling it hypocrisy, saying if you're gonna blast other folks for losing their cool, you better remember when you were the main one wilding out courtside. And that's why this whole drama just won't die. Everybody's receipts keep coming back to haunt them. Fans aren't holding back at all. One person said, Shannon Sharpe criticizing anybody for poor choices is wild, especially after that whole OnlyFans mess blew up in his face. Another fan clapped back, if Ja's dad can't hype up his own son, then why is Uncle Shannon allowed to go full defense mode every time LeBron takes the court? Now everybody's split down the middle. Some folks think Shannon had a real point when he called out Halliburton's dad for crossing the line, while others say it's just straight up wild coming from the same man who's been tangled in so much drama himself. And that's the thing, this saga has turned into a non-stop circus with no end in sight. If you're still locked in, you already know what time it is. Smash that like button, drop a comment below, share this with your crew, and don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on those notifications so you never miss the tea. See you on the next one.